Hey, it's Blair, the Love Guru, and I wanted to make another video for you today about what to do when a loved one is dying. And as you'll see, I blew my hair for this. I blow dried it. I'm in the process of getting ready to go out, but I keep on having so many thoughts of things that I want to share with you guys that I just keep on hurrying up and getting back on the video cam here. So let me share with you some thoughts, some things that you can do when a loved one of yours is getting ready to pass, when a loved one is dying. And first, I just want to start off this video by saying that, again, by the several months that I have been working, doing therapy in the hospice setting, I initially went in there when I didn't really know what I signed up for, let's just put it that way. You know, you're dealing with a lot of medical issues. You know, when someone is getting close to death, a lot of times they have medical issues. And that's why we're seeing them in like a hospital setting. And that's really what hospice kind of is these days. It's more of a hospital setting. People don't stay there for months and months and months. It's more like we're helping them with immediate needs, you know, if they're having like respiratory problems or agitation or whatever it might be. So anyway, I'm not going to get into that. But the thing is that when you're working in this environment and when you're going to visit somebody who is actively dying, you might see that they have wounds, which are maybe gruesome looking. They might be wearing diapers, which again isn't so pleasant. You know, they might have bags like a bag next to their bed with their urine or feces, which again is not really so pleasant to be looking at. You know, wearing oxygen. There's a lot of things that kind of made me feel like very uncomfortable being in that environment. And also it's pretty stinky in the hallways, or if you go into patients' rooms, I mean, you know, it's going to smell of the nurses are changing patients' diapers, so it's going to be stinky because of that. So again, for those reasons and a lot of others, a lot of people don't like coming to see someone pass. They don't like seeing someone not in their, you know, not all done up and in their greatest looking, not looking so great. But with all that aside, if you can look past that, so that's how I first started my experience, was I was there and I was like, oh, I don't know, oh, I'm not going in that room, oh, I don't want to be in that room. And I would have to, because that was part of what I signed up to do. So once I got past that initial shock, and once you get past that initial shock of seeing your loved one in a state that you're not used to seeing them in, and you get past the smells or wounds or whatever you're seeing that they have, just understand that the dying process is actually like a very special and sacred process. You know, just as people gather for the birthing process, I really think it's such a beautiful thing when I see families gather for the dying process and just kind of holding vigil for the time that it's coming, to create that environment. And I do see a lot of families with like a lot of anxiety. You know, when's this going to come to an end? When's this person going to pass? Well, we don't know. The doctors don't know. The nurses don't know. No matter what they tell you, they could say, oh, it's coming soon. You know, we see signs that the person's getting ready to pass. But no one ever knows when someone's at the end of their life. I mean, we don't have an expiration date written on us. So that's kind of also just like a little bit of a silly question. I mean, you could ask if someone's getting close, but when's the person going to pass? I mean, no one has any idea. You have to speak to God himself to find that out. So there's a lot of anxiety of just like waiting, and you're just kind of waiting and waiting, and when's this going to happen? When's it going to happen? Well, what I'd like to share in this video is some things that you can do to create that sacred space for your loved one. And the first thing is to, one, understand that it really is a special moment, that you're being there for that person in the time that they're passing. So that in itself, I think, is such a blessing. What we say in the Jewish religion is it's a mitzvah. I think it's a mitzvah to be there during this time. What you can do is, of course, you could read bedside. You could read to that person maybe one of their favorite books. You could read a spiritual book or a religious book. You could say some prayers. I mean, any of these things are just really so special. Say some prayers for your loved one, that they have a safe return home, that they, you can congratulate them for a job well done. I mean, after all, we are on this planet Earth to learn lessons. We're kind of here for a job, if that's how you want to look at it. I mean, we're here to learn lessons. We're here for a mission. So just to kind of congratulate them, like, hey, you did a good job, like, and also one of the reasons why I think it is such a special moment to be there when someone is getting close to passing is that they are so close to being in that spirit realm. They're so close to being with our Maker, assuming that you believe in some kind of higher power, with the angels and the guides and just all the helpers that are over there, to be so close. And for some time period before they pass, they're in that transitioning phase. So again, I think that is such like a miraculous thing to be with someone when they're kind of like half in their physical body and half out of their body. I mean, we're always spirit. So either spirit's in the body or spirit's out of the body. So I think it's like such a blessing and something just so amazing and fascinating to be with someone when I kind of just visualize it as like they're kind of half in their body and half out. And as they transition, they're moving more and more out of their body. And that is something so precious. So you could say prayers for them. You can talk to them. Hearing is what we understand is the last thing, one of the last like senses to go. So if somebody that you love is unresponsive, which is like they're not speaking to you, they're not moving, have the faith that they can still possibly listen to you. They could still hear you. So if you're still saying loving words. Another thing that you can do while, a loved one is going through the dying process is you could share with them things that you loved, moments that you loved sharing with them, fond memories, or you could share with them traits that you love about them, or just by telling them how much you love them, or you could tell them that you forgive them for things that they've done, or, ask them for forgiveness. I mean, now is the time to really kind of like tie those loose ends, when that person's on their deathbed. I mean, it's kind of like how they say now or never. I mean, that person's in spirit afterwards. You could take care of it then. But these are different things. Again, I see a lot of families with great anxiety just sitting there waiting, and they're like, I don't know what to do. And again, it goes back to like my other video as far as like always having to do something. So here I am giving you some tips on what you can do. Isn't that funny? Because I'm talking about just being. So let's give a tip about being. Just be with your emotions. Be in that moment. Be fully in that moment without thinking about the funeral arrangements or the cremation arrangements or who you have to call about so-and-so is passing or how you should be at work rather than sitting with your loved one. Whatever it is. And just be in that moment, because again, it's only happening like this one time that you're going to be with that person for the last time in that physical body, before they transition and take a different form. So you can play, another thing that I think is really beautiful is when families play that person's favorite music or music from their childhood. And I've seen some patients that, again, have been unresponsive, but then they end up reacting to the songs, moving a little bit, moaning a little bit. I think that's beautiful. You could also just watch TV. I mean, I walked into this family's room one time and I really felt like I was stepping into their living room. Their mom was getting ready to transition, or in the transitioning, was in the process of transitioning, and they were, you know, everyone copes differently, but they were watching football with their mom. Their mom was sitting there, and there was like 2 chairs pulled up and a couch, and they were all sitting watching football. So if that's what feels good to you, and if that's what you've done with your loved one, or that's what you normally do, you could do that as well. But just again, you know, I can't stress enough just to recognize. So those are some things that you can do when you're waiting for the person to pass. But again, just to recognize that it is really a sacred moment, and look at it like, you know, birth, you're welcoming a spirit into the world. And here, I think it deserves the same amount of respect and honor and celebration when you're saying goodbye to a spirit. I mean, how hard is it at times to live on earth and to go through our trials and tribulations and all the lessons we have to learn? I mean, sometimes it's difficult. So then imagine, you know, you're at the end of your life, and I believe that we review our life and our lessons and what we learned when we're on the other side for like the first, whatever it is, you know, where there's no time frames. But, you know, just to be with that person after it's like, hey, you're at that end of your life. I mean, this is celebration time. And what a beautiful thing. So just to kind of keep that in mind, that it is this sacred time. I mean, light candles and maybe dim the lights. Another thing that I think, what I think is nice is to open the windows, or at least open the blinds. I mean, I've walked into so many patients' rooms where it's been like so dark, and I think it's kind of depressing. And again, why is it a depressing time? Why is it a dark time? I mean, this is beauty. This is beauty. A spirit has come into this world. They've learned their lessons. They've succeeded. And they're ready to go on the other side, and they're ready for the next assignment. They're ready to review and for the next assignment. So shouldn't we be their cheerleaders? Shouldn't we be there to support them and be like, well done, good job? So those are some of my thoughts as far as, and my suggestions as far as what you can do when a loved one is in the dying process. I send you lots of love. Bye-bye.